I
No,
didn't hear.
I'm
Yeah.
recording now. Sorry.
Okay.
Thank you for reminding me.
Okay.
Okay, so you're going to ask me maybe 3
20,
questions to do with
20 questions. No, just kidding. Okay.
to do with my
Well,
parents. Yeah.
well, question number one, just some of the, and you can do this on your own.
Okay.
I don't want you to just write it down, but
Sure.
what are some of the, painful things your parents told you about you that were not true? And again, you can do it on your own.
Well, maybe they are true.
No, see, you are affirming you're not worthy, just like they said.
Well, they told me that I'm too fat. That is true. I am too fat. Um, I don't know. What
But
else?
I mean that's hurtful in itself,
Yeah.
Just like I have a friend, and she says that she was chunky when she was a little girl, right? And so her mother was into health and wellness and fitness and all that, and told her that she was fat and that she was going to put her on a diet and no more candy, and that just has marked her and devastated her throughout her adult life. And she's had severe issues with weight and such. So it's the weight that they said it.
She also said, I also heard that fat people are seen as stupid, right? And I realized something yesterday. I'd actually completely forgotten about it. So for as long as I remember, I've had issues with food. I had allergies as a child. I was allergic to everything. I couldn't eat dairy, so my mother went and got all of these things that I could have, like soy, and like I would eat it and I'd be like, that's disgusting, I'm not eating that. And food was always an issue. I was denied food, then I was force fed, or the other way around. And then I remember opening our fridge and there being no food in it, just perfumes and like an old bit of Greek cheese wrapped in tin foil. And that was it. And then later on, there was a lock on our fridge. When there was good stuff in the fridge, there was a lock.
How does that denial of nourishment affect you today? That you are not worthy, that you're not allowed to be nourished in any way, shape, or form.
Correct. I have this underlying kind of program or fear. It's like, oh, there's not going to be enough. Oh my God, there's not going to be enough. I need to eat now. Otherwise, it's going to be gone. So there's this kind of, and I know
there's a fear of scarcity in every which way, right?
And I know that that's not true. The logical part of my head goes, well, that's just an old story, but it's still in there. That program is going, oh my God, she's going to take it away from you. Hurry, eat.
Or also having things taken away from you as well. That, those beliefs are going to affect you in your adult life.
Yeah.
That I will give you this, I'm going to take it away.
And I was only allowed chocolate when she was on her period.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So I would hide and I would eat as many chocolates as I could. I hid them under my bed and I would stuff my face as fast as I could. And listen in case she was coming. And I'd be like, quickly, she's going to come and she's going to find me and she's going to kill me.
Did your parents hit you or just verbally abuse you or everything?
I had a nervous cough as a child because I was terrified of my mother. She had narcissistic rages. And every time I would cough, she would scream with rage at me. Scream. And I would, my whole body would seize up, and I lived my whole childhood in tension and fear. And oh my God, she's gonna hurt me. She's gonna get me. She's gonna get me. And sometimes she did. She did bite me or go to hit me, but not actually hit me.
So I have a question. Do you know what happened to your mother, or was there some major trauma, or did
Yeah,
she just have severe mental health issues,
she
or?
was put in an oven as a child, and like they had these big clay ovens, and
Mhm.
the local women, including her grandmother, who left.
Hold on a second, hold on a
No worries.
second. Hold on. Quiet. Be quiet. Come on.
Yeah, so
Um, so,
she
so
that
she
she
was
was
part of
told.
Hansel and Gretel? So Hansel, like something like that?
They believe when she was a child, they said that she had evil in her, and that they needed
Mhm.
to burn the evil spirits out by putting her in the clay oven. So she was petrified, being, and she developed claustrophobia. Um, but also, she had, a lot of responsibility being the eldest child, where she was made to feel responsible for the younger siblings misbehaving. There was a lot of trauma where she was,
So
controlled.
by the time you arrived, she was like, oh, another kid.
Yeah, yeah. And she was
No.
only 19 when she had me, maybe
Right.
17, something like that. And my father was an alcoholic, gambler, yeah, and drug addict, so, and womanizer. So she had no security, no stability, no positive uh, role models, absent parents. Yeah, so there was a lot. So I do have compassion for that journey.
But I mean, definitely have compassion for her, but have compassion for you too, you know?
Yeah, I do.
And then work on those negative things that your parents told you. I think they affect your now a lot.
I think it's that what you hit the nail on the head when you were talking about being denied nourishment,
And
and
all and nourishment goes it nourishment is a lot of things: mental nourishment, physical nourishment, emotional nourishment, any nourishment that you can think of, you know?
so perhaps I need to say something to myself like that it's safe for me to be nourished.
Or you allow yourself,
I allow
or you
myself to
now release your childhood traumas, that there's enough nourishment, or it's okay for you to be nourished, or there's enough nourishment for you in the now, you know?
there's enough. That's a good one. And I release my childhood traumas. Isn't it interesting how our childhood trauma is as fresh and real as it was right now? It's like there's no time. You probably feel this. I don't know. Tell me if you do. Do you
Well,
do you feel it like as if
you
it's
know,
now?
you know, going back to when I used to go hide in the doghouse and cry
Uh-huh.
with my dog and such, because my parents did not hug me. There was no love or affection. They never told us they loved us. Anyway, so it's gonna be 2 years. I found the Scooby Doo, the big dog. He's part Labrador, part pit bull, but he's huge. So when I first found him, and I was going to, rehome him, because I only had small dogs at that point, and I used to just love hugging him. Like when I was a little girl, like, oh, like, when I would go hide and cry in the doghouse and hug, and I still like to go hug him. He's an amazing dog. I call him my emotional support dog.
He
So,
really is.
I still feel that when I hug him, you
Oh,
know.
that's beautiful. So, can you release your childhood trauma? Do you think?
You know what? I think I can, and I worked really hard on it. And there was a lot of things with my childhood traumas and beliefs that I worked on, that I was able to get over, and there were some that I am still not able to get over. I think the being unloved, and relationships. Again, I don't know what a healthy relationship is. I don't know how to keep relationships because I was not taught. I was just taught abuse, rejection. I didn't have a relationship with my father. So relationships with men have been very difficult. So, that's something I really need to work on. And, I considered going back to therapy, but I thought, I did it already. I have all the tools. Just like I recite from my mind, the affirmations. I know what I need to do, and I
I
think I
feel
just,
I feel that you need to do some work around men, not just women, but the men that you will meet in your life and that you're bringing into your life are solid men and real men, and they're not toxically masculine. You know,
well, also, speaking of that, at one point I was very much in love with this one guy years and years ago, who was just like my mother.
right?
He was a sociopath. He was crazy. He was just like my mother. He was nothing like my father at
That
all.
makes sense. We attract people into our life
Mhm.
that represent what
Well,
we recognize as home.
yeah, because they say women attract men just like their father. Well, this guy was nothing like my father, but he was like my mother.
Because she
So
had a major impact on your psyche, right? So of course you're
both
going
of them,
to
yeah.
attract somebody that's like your mother and or father or both, right? But you can now undo that because you know that pattern and you recognized
Mhm.
it. So you're in
Well,
a new place.
what was it? Maybe 6 months ago or something. I was kind of talking to this guy, and he wanted to go quicker, and I'm like, no, let's just get to know each other. And the more I got to know him, he was just like my father in a lot of ways. And I'm like, in every which way, actually, he was just like and I'm like, nah, I'm okay.
I'm getting this, excuse me, I'm getting this image. I suddenly feel very cold and a little bit chilly. I'm getting this image, Veronica, of like all of our trauma, it being like a cave where we've like dumped all of this crap, all of this emotional shit, right? And like, there's like old candlesticks full of wax and like, just like gunk and like moldy shit, like, old food that's gone bad. It's just full, this cave. It's full of old stuff that we don't need. And it's somehow like we need to excavate the cave, get something to clear it all out and start again from a clean space and
But
replace it with the things that make us feel
you
good.
know, it's it's doable. It's doable, but it's hard work.
Do you have somebody outside that's making the dogs bark?
So my neighbor, I live in a cul-de-sac, and he's just going and going with his dog. So the big dogs want to eat him. And what am I supposed to say? Don't walk in the street.
Yeah.
It's free
So
street.
you give me an affirmation and I'll give you one.
I think um because you went through some, I think you and I have a lot of things in common, with childhood traumas. But I think you have a lot of, your parents instilled in you that it wasn't okay to be you. But why don't you say it's okay to be me? It's safe. I'm perfect as is. I think you really need to accept yourself as you are.
Wow, I love that. Thank you. And it's so short and concise. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for that. I really appreciate it. It's okay to be me, and I am perfect as is. I love that. I'll take it. Thank
And
you.
then it is okay, and it is safe for me to be nourished, you know?
It's okay and safe for me Yes. Thank you. Okay, so a lot of what you said to me was about trauma and relationships. And this is what I'm hearing for you. I now allow real love into my life.
I can't hear you at all. Let me you know what, let me put in the dogs. Maybe they'll calm down if they're not
Why
outside.
don't you bring them in? Why don't you bring them in to
Yeah, let me bring
you?
them in. Hold on.
Yeah.
Come on. Come on, we're coming in. We are coming in. You guys need to. No. Oh my goodness. Charlie, come on, Charlie, come on. Troublemakers.
I've got it. Okay. So I'm going to say it a couple of times. Even though you're off camera, I know you can probably hear me. I now allow real love into my life, and it's now safe for me to be deeply loved.
Okay, there we go. I've closed all the windows, put them inside. Hopefully they will be quiet now.
Tell me how this feels. I now allow real love into my life. Could you say that for me? Tell me how it feels.
I now allow real love in my life. I mean, it feels good. But at the same time, I kind of have this notion, because I've affirmed for true friendship and love, and I always have a loss, that it may not work, that I'm going to repeat it like a parrot. It's not going to work. You know,
Maybe you need to grieve those losses. Maybe you need to grieve and honor those losses that you had. Okay, so I'm gonna say for you, I now grieve and honor the loss of my loved ones and friendships, and I know that I can move beyond my patterns.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that it is now safe for me to be deeply loved.
Yeah. Are you writing that down?
Yes.
Because
It's now safe for me to be deeply loved. It's now safe for me to be deeply loved. It's now safe for me to be deeply loved. I want you to say it.
It is now safe for me to be deeply loved. And I think it is now safe for me to release my childhood traumas.
Yeah. I now grieve and honor my losses.
Well, you don't want to put anything negative in your affirmations.
That's
or
true.
I release all my past, and I release all my past with love, I guess.
Have you felt the loss of the people that you let go?
You know what? One of them at the beginning, but I'm really good at, being a master survivalist and moving on and surviving and moving on. So at first I was like, screw this, whatever, blah, blah, blah. As time went by, I think 6 months later or 8 months later, I really started missing my really good friend. I really started missing that friendship and started feeling very lonely and alone,
Are you sad that you lost that friendship?
Yeah. Now I am. At the beginning, I was like, she started acting very strange. And, I tried asking her why, and she just, I don't know. I don't know, but
So
she's a very strange person as well too.
maybe you could just not be with the grief, but just sit with it for a little while.
Well, it's not even the grief, it's the loneliness. 'Cause I
Yeah,
miss that friendship I had with her, you know,
yeah.
I miss, and I just, and mind you, we were good friends for like 10 years. It wasn't like just someone I had met. We had been friends for a year or two. This was a 10-year friendship. And my other one, I had been friends with him for maybe, I would say 7 years. So
So you honor those friendships that have come and gone. You honor them.
well, I just want lasting friendships at this point and a relationship, not just with my dogs. I
I
have
want
good relationships with my animals.
I want to remind you. I want to remind you that people come in and out of your life at exactly the right time, and that they have a lesson for you. Um, Whatever it is. That's that saying about season, reason, or well, I forget it now. But
I know, but I have constant, I have constant losses in my life, and that's why I tend to do the hermit.
well, is
Because
that something that you want to continue to affirm for yourself?
no, but it's my pattern, and I really need to. I really want to work on that and release that. That's not healthy. It
Okay,
sucks to
so
be
what
alone.
does your new pattern say?
Uh, I think I need to be specific. I just can't say everybody loves me, love is all around me. I need to specifically affirm for long lasting relationships and friendships and a relationship. Because I can bring people into my life, but they just won't last in my life, you know?
What? Okay, that's the part that you need to get rid of. That's the part right there. You said it. You said
Well, remember one of my main you know, my main thing with my patterns is from my family is loss
yeah.
and being in survival mode. And, I just have these really negative patterns that I'm
Well,
still dealing with today.
this loss that you're speaking about, and these negative patterns, I think that you need to grieve them. That's why I'm not saying that affirm the grief, but just recognize it and name it. Like I'm right now dealing with grief, and I'm now healing from the grief that I've been feeling,
Yeah, because
and I
I
acknowledge it.
can't. Yeah, it's hard. It's very, very hard. And, like I have, I have everything. I'm gonna go through my notebook and stuff, but I'm physically and mentally tired of having to deal with those things, the same issues. So
You,
it's
you,
very
you
exhausting
know
for me.
subconscious reprogramming technique. Have you heard of that?
Hmm.
I
Yeah.
think that would be very useful for you to release lonely. The charge of the idea lonely, the idea of sad, the idea of grief, the idea of um, people leave me.
Mm.
You know,
Well, these are severe abandonment issues I deal with and rejection issues,
rejection, all of these things. I think it would
I'm
be
not,
very
my
useful.
parents specifically, whether it was verbally or with their behavior, basically, I'm not worthy of being loved. There's something wrong with me. I am less than. Those were the messages that I got with my parents, which I'm pretty sure you can relate.
Yeah.
And so that affects my self-esteem and my self-worth a lot.
So let's close this small paragraph that we've been working on about I believe that we choose our parents,
The
right?
very triggering one.
The very, very deep, triggering, long one. Right? I believe that we
Okay.
choose our parents. Let's close that chapter with something to take into our future that's going to nourish, not only nourish, but leave us with a feeling of what's the opposite of grief?
Happiness,
Joy,
joy.
right? Yeah, yeah. Surrender and joy. Surrender and joy. So, what did I just say? I'm trying to remember.
Surrender and joy.
Yeah, before surrender and joy, a release of grief.
Joy. Don't say
Great.
grief. Do not affirm for grief.
Okay, so I'm surrendered to joy. I'm now surrendered and enter a state of joy. I mean, joy feels like it's far away from place, from being in a place of grief into joy. It's quite a long emotional gap, right? So where can we go? We can't step it straight into joy. Where can we go?
I don't know. To the bar and have a drink.
From surrender, right? If we're at a place of surrender where we're releasing the grief, what's the next step after surrender? Because remember that I'm too fat. I'm undernourished. I've got all of these like little beliefs, bricks in my wall, and you've got everyone abandons me.
I'm not worthy. I'm unlovable. No one will ever love me.
These are bricks in our consciousness that we need
Mhm.
to like tear down and rebuild. So let's build one. Let's put one brick in each. So
I have a question. When you eat chocolate, does it trigger you? Do you go back to your childhood and like remember when you stuffed yourself with chocolate?
Not really. It makes me feel happy.
So
It's
food,
like comfort.
food for me, going back to my childhood, I had a very strange childhood. Very just, I think, well, my father was a very wealthy man, so I basically lived in a very, very wealthy atmosphere. I had anything and everything that I wanted, except crazy parents that abused me and didn't love me. And food was a big issue for me, because I would stuff myself. Food was love. My mother didn't cook because she just didn't like to be a housewife and mother. And then we couldn't keep anybody to help in the house because they would run because she was crazy. She would make them cry. She would like almost hit them. I mean, it was, so there was plenty of food in the house, and we were in junk food for that matter. So I was very much into junk food since a child and eating and this and that. So food is always a source of joy for me. That's when, how we were talking earlier off camera that, I give myself twice a week, and I stuff myself on those days. Like, I get to eat what I want, because food for me it's a source of like major happiness for me. So, yeah. And I still crave American junk food to this day.
Is food love for you?
I don't think so. It brings me joy. It brings me joy
Food
and
is
happiness. It doesn't give me love. It gives me joy and happiness.
Food is joy and happiness. Okay.
There's a book I read many, many years ago called When Food is Love. It's a very good book.
Interesting.
She would stuff herself with food. It's so
when
that
food is love. Okay. I'll make a note of it. Okay. I think I need to go in the next few minutes,
Mhm.
and we can work again tomorrow on this.
Tomorrow, anytime in my afternoon is good.
Okay.
After, because I have to go run some errands in the morning, but I'm here and I'm gonna be that when we first started working on this, I got worn out, physically.
Yeah. Well,
It's
you're
just
bringing
very.
up stuff, right? You're bringing up pain,
Mhm.
anger, trauma. It's like it's sitting there. Of course, it's going to make you tired. It's like, I have to relive it.
Well, you know,
But
it's.
I do want you to, just say something positive. Not necessarily positive, but say something that's going to heal you about this chapter that we've read about our parents. I believe that we choose our parents. I'm going to read it one more time. I believe each one of us decides to incarnate upon this planet at a particular point in time and space. We've chosen to come here to learn a particular lesson that will advance us upon our spiritual evolutionary pathway. We choose our sex, our color, our country, and then we look around for the particular set of problems. Parents who will mirror that pattern. Yeah, I'm unconsciously calling out my parents' problems, who will
Oh,
mirror that pattern, and we're bringing into work on our lives. Then when we grow up, we usually point our fingers accusingly at our parents and whimper, "You did it to me." I so feel like that. But really, we chose them because they were perfect for what we wanted to work on overcoming. We learn our belief systems as very little children, and then we move through life creating experiences to match our beliefs. Look back in your own life and notice how often you've gone through the same experience. Well, I believe that you created those experiences over and over because they mirrored something that you believed about yourself. It doesn't really matter how long that we've had a problem or how big it is or how life-threatening it is. And then it goes on to say the point of power is in the present moment, which is another small paragraph. So what will you say, Veronica, to close this and bring you some healing about this choice of your parents that you chose, if you believe that to be true?
uh, you know, the only thing I'm grateful for that I don't have to deal with them, I don't have to see them. I'm able to heal myself. That helps out a lot because but they're not here, but they're still here, and I need to, you know I don't want to say I want to wipe them out because they're my parents. What can I say? But it's more or less, release those patterns. I just want to release my deep-seated patterns that I have, you know.
I release my patterns with love and self-acceptance. That goes for both of us, right? We're working on it. And it's now safe for me to create a new pattern.
Or
And
new beliefs about yourself,
yeah, it's now safe for me to create a new pattern and new beliefs for myself. Yeah. And what about you?
I think maybe I want to say it is safe for me to release my patterns.
Wow. Okay.
You know,
Yeah.
I went from having a lot of deep-seated safety issues, which I'm okay now, but I think I still have safety issues in other ways, in relationships and such, So
Okay.
I think
Well, you've
to
named
me,
them. You've named them. You've pulled them out of your imaginary hat, and you're looking at them, and you're acknowledging them. And just because you've had a problem in the past doesn't mean that you have to create that in the future. When Louise Hay says in her movie, You Can Heal Your Life, she says, painting a picture or making your dinner, you know, metaphorically, that's what we're doing in every moment, right? You're painting your future with your current belief.
And
So,
also I tend to focus a lot of negative stuff too, you know?
yeah,
And the
yeah,
more I focus on that, the more negative things become, you know?
of course. And you realize this, which is wonderful. So I'm
But
really
I, you
grateful
know,
that you recognize.
in one of the last things, I really want to release being in survival mode, you know? I am just so tired and so over that, you know?
So you're
I've
moving
had
into
it.
thriving and being energized.
Thriving mode.
You
Thriving mode.
yes, thriving and energized is now how I choose to feel, right?
Mm-hmm.
Thriving and energized. I want to share this with you before we part ways for this
Mm-hmm.
evening. I was thinking how difficult it is lately for me to walk carrying all of this weight because I put on a lot of weight, and I was just thinking, just put one foot in front of the other. Just that. Yeah, that's all you need to do. Just put
So
one
are you
foot.
supposed to do exercise? Is that something you need to be doing or?
Absolutely, of course. I mean, but you know, I'm carrying so much weight that it's hard for me to physically move. You know, so I've been walking more, and I'm aiming to walk more and more and more until I feel more agile. You know, my lungs are breathing in a lot of mold right now because I'm living in a moldy environment, which is really affecting my health.
Uh-huh.
One day at a time, right? One day at a time, we're making positive changes towards the life that we want to live. And here we
Yeah.
are, two damaged, abused people in different
Hurt.
ways, of course,
Hurt. Hurt.
hurt people, right? Yeah, hurt people that are reaching for healing. And I think we're doing it. I really believe that we're doing it.
But we're doing the best that we can with the circumstances that we have, right?
Yeah, yeah. You look really beautiful, by the way.
Mm. Thank you. I slept well.
Good. But like, I mean, right now, like I
Well,
feel
thank
like
you.
something's shifted just in the time that we've talked as well. Like you've released something. I see that in you.
Well, I think, speaking of my deep-seated things, I don't really talk to anybody. I hear everybody's problems, but I don't express mine to anybody, you know.
So, what time should we talk tomorrow? Should we do? Um,
Let's do noon my time.
okay.
But
So that's my eight.
if I get home earlier, because I need to go run errands really, really early.
Just
If I
message
get back,
me.
yeah, I'll message you if I get back by 11. So
Sounds
it'll be
good.
earlier. Okay?
Sounds good.
All
Okay.
right.
All right.
Okay.
Love you lots.
Okay. Love you. Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.